What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Wednesday, October 27th. We have some very good news today, so here's what we're going to discuss in today's video. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed today's update, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Here's what we're going to discuss today. Democratic leaders said yesterday that we are potentially hours away from reaching a deal on this massive spending bill. Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer both said if a deal isn't agreed to by Tuesday night, we will have an agreement sometime early Wednesday afternoon. So, good news is we are close. A group of House Democrats are also reintroducing the Social Security 2100 Act, a sacred trust to provide for those on Social Security. And this has some major changes that I want to bring to your attention. So if you are close to collecting Social Security or you currently do collect benefits, then you may want to stick around for this. We also know Senator Joe Manchin is now the one lawmaker that is actually getting all of the attention. And he says this power is not fun to have. We know the Senate unveiled the Billionaire Tax proposal. I'm going to address this because there's some changes here. Some are saying that they're very skeptical about this plan and how it's going to pass. Even Mitt Romney says this will just cause billionaires to buy paintings and ranches to preserve their wealth, which is potentially very true. Progressives still say they won't vote for this bipartisan infrastructure bill at $1.2 trillion until the bigger human infrastructure bill passes first. And Senator Josh Hawley has actually introduced a new bill to potentially fix the supply chain issues that we're seeing. And it would increase manufacturing here in the United States, and it would provide more people with jobs. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, ask your questions down in the comment section below. Let's get right into it. But before I get into the stimulus package update and talk about the infrastructure bill and the new billionaire tax, I first want to address Social Security. This is one of the most common questions I get. Are we ever going to see that $200 per month boost that President Biden promised? Well, we don't know. But here's what we do know. This bill, this is the Social Security 2100 Act, a sacred trust. That's what's being called. This is going to be, or technically is, a reintroduction of the Social Security 1900 Act. This was proposed like last year, I believe. President Biden made a lot of promises during his presidential campaign, and lawmakers say we need to look into these. We need to pass some of his campaign promises. One way lawmakers plan to do this, they want to fix the issues currently surrounding Social Security. Yesterday, AOC, Richard Neal, and John Larson, all Democrats from the House of Representatives, introduced this Social Security reform bill. Neal says that lawmakers need to offset the concentration of wealth in the United States and embrace Social Security. Here's how this bill would work. Okay, has a few different parts. The bill extends the date that Social Security would become insolvent from 2034, so in 13 years, to 2038. They say those additional 4 years would actually give Congress more time to come up with a successful long-term solution to this program. What they do not want is to provide a Band-Aid fix to this program, to Social Security, get it to work or seemingly work for a little bit longer, but then it really just goes back to the way it normally was. They want to see a long-term solution. So we'll see if that happens. This new bill would provide initiatives to expand and enhance Social Security. Benefits would be set at 125% of the federal poverty line and tied with current wage levels. So we'd see it rise. We'd see it rise when wages rise as well. When the poverty line increases, so would this Social Security benefit. The annual cost of living adjustment, this is one of the big changes. Many of you have said this, that the cost of living adjustment at 5.9% for this year is great, but the problem is it doesn't actually tie into what seniors are buying. It looks at the whole picture, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. But this proposal says we need to see that the Consumer Price Index for elderly is the one. It's the CPIE. This is the one that they need to do because they say this would better reflect the costs seniors are currently facing. And I think this is extremely important to note that yes, we have to go after what seniors are actually purchasing, buying, spending money on. We have to do that. We cannot look at just the basic CPI index. We can't do that anymore. Things need to change. This plan would also raise the threshold in which Social Security is taxed. This is a big one. Currently, it's at $25,000 for individuals and $32,000 for couples. But they want to raise that to $35,000 for individuals and $50,000 for couples. That would be a big, big change. Currently, this plan has a lot of support. In the past, the previously introduced proposal had over 200 lawmakers in the House that supported this bill. Some in the Senate supported it as well. I don't know the exact numbers there though. Right now, they say that this plan is especially, it needs to happen now, especially being that this plan would call on the wealthier individuals to pay for this through a higher tax rate in order to make sure that this bill is funded. So, some say this is the best way to move forward. Some say this is needed. Others say this could have some pushback in the Senate, and it may, but others say that, or one expert says, this is the discussion that needs to happen. And honestly, I think it does. Now, let's address the new billionaire tax. Okay, and again, if you have questions on this, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. First, this is a two-pronged legislative strategy. This strategy also includes a 15% corporate minimum tax on the most profitable U.S. corporations. And this is kind of in line with, I think there's like 130 some other countries that are planning to do this exact same thing, but have a minimum corporate tax of 15% to make sure that businesses aren't going to other countries just because they have a better tax rate. So just keep things on an even playing field at 15%. That's the goal here. What we know is that this new bill, this billionaire tax, would impose levies on billionaires' ownership stakes in businesses. This includes real estate investment trusts as well. So they're going to tax them on almost everything. Aides are saying that this would impose a 23.8% tax rate for long-term capital gains on tradable assets such as stocks. But this also allows billionaires to take deductions on losses of assets as well. So again, even though some say that if a billionaire is making all this money, they're worth $200 billion or $280 billion, whatever, $90 billion, like Elon Musk is, they say if the valuation goes down, they lose money on some of their investments. Well, technically, the way this works is they could potentially be getting money back. They could be getting some money back because they're losing money, right? So again, it's interesting here that some say this could be a good thing, but depending on how our economy plays out, this could potentially be a bad thing as well. So we're gonna see what happens here. One notable difference though, this new billionaire tax, this would be imposed starting in 2022, so not 2021. It would affect taxpayers with either over $1 billion in assets or somebody that makes an annual income of over $100 million for 3 consecutive years. So they do not even have to be a billionaire. This would impact multimillionaires as well, or the extremely wealthy, right? We also know Manu Raju, he says there's a lot of criticism and skepticism about this plan, and he states that House Democrats wanted to see a rate increase that was much easier to implement than this billionaire tax. However, we can't get that done because currently Senator Kyrsten Sinema says she opposes all corporate tax hikes and taxing the wealthy. But she does support, according to reports, this billionaire tax. So we'll see what happens there. But the one thing that we are hearing may have some pushback is if people have an annual income of over $100 million for 3 consecutive years, that could potentially be cut out. But according to the reports as well, this wouldn't bring in any large significant income or revenue. So this could potentially be cut out, but some say that wouldn't impact this bill from actually passing because it wouldn't be fully funded. So we'll see. Now, let's talk about the final framework, okay? Even though Democrats are getting closer to a deal, we could potentially see a deal anytime now, any second, right? Let's hope. But here's the issue. Progressives are saying they are still not satisfied. They're still not satisfied. They want more. Many say they're just being forced into accepting a smaller deal because President Biden is working so closely with moderates, or specifically Senator Joe Manchin. Senator Hirono from Hawaii said, and she of course doesn't like that moderates right now are erasing some of their priorities, but Senator Hirono believes that Democrats need to show unity. They need to show unity and pass a bill that not only provides for the American people and gets the economy back on track, but she says we need to open the doors for our priorities and then try to extend and expand these policies later on. So her idea, her plan is to let's figure out a way to get the child tax credit payments in there. Let's figure out a way to get paid family leave in there, four months, right? Or 4 weeks, right? Let's try to get these additional plans, these provisions in there. Let's get something in there for immigration. Let's get something in there for climate change. Let's get all these little things in the bill, and then later on in 2022, just like Representative John Yarmouth said, he said we are already discussing the next bill. We're already discussing the next infrastructure bill or budget reconciliation for 2022. Whatever doesn't pass in this bill will get pushed into the next one. So that's exactly what she's saying, and multiple lawmakers have said in the past. Let's just get things in, and then later on we'll expand them, we'll extend them, and we'll make things better. But that comes later on. We also know Representative Jim McGovern says, and I quote, "At the end of the day, we have to accomplish something. We have to deal with the reality in which we're living. But too many progressives say this is not what we're doing." One Democrat said that they are simply looking at this possible $1.5 trillion human infrastructure bill as another down payment on what's to come. President Biden said this in the past, that, that's just the $600 stimulus checks. That's just a down payment. We're going to provide you with the additional $1,400. We've heard this before when they passed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. This was just a down payment. And so some are saying this bill will just be another down payment. And even though we're getting closer to this down payments framework, Pramila Jayapal, she had to say that right now she is not interested in just the framework. And again, this is where things get very tricky. She wants to see that both of these bills are voted on the same day, or progressives won't vote in favor of passing the bipartisan infrastructure bill. I said this yesterday, that we didn't know whether or not the bipartisan bill had to be passed first or second, but now, according to reports, some say that an agreement is very close. We might not see the vote happen today which was previously reported or expected, but what we do know is right now progressives are saying we have to vote on the human infrastructure bill first. That has to be passed first before we will vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So the next question is, because right now the human infrastructure bill has not passed the Senate or the House, but the bipartisan bill has passed the Senate. So if the House, are they going to vote on the human infrastructure bill first and then vote on the bipartisan bill second before the Senate votes and passes the human infrastructure bill? We don't know. My expectation is no. My expectation is the human infrastructure bill for between $1.5 to $2 trillion would have to be voted on and passed in the House and the Senate, and it would have to go to President Biden's desk. He doesn't have to sign it, but it would have to go to his desk before the House votes on the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill. So, as we know more there, I promise I will fill you in on those updates, but we could potentially have a big update later on today. Lastly, let's talk about Senator Josh Hawley's new proposal and what he has introduced. He has introduced a bill which he calls Make in America to Sell in America Act. This bill would require 50% of a product must be made in the United States in order to be sold in the United States. Now, he wants to implement this by 2025, and he says the proposed bill would end an era of dangerous over-reliance on foreign factories. Now, here's what I can tell you. Even though right now manufacturing in the United States has been seen as very expensive, it's costly and it raises the price of goods, which is one of the reasons why we outsource to other countries, specifically China, because it's much cheaper. We can get a very similar product and it's much cheaper. Many say that now the backlog at ports and the shipping price increase makes this where it makes more sense now than ever before. Not only would we see products, we wouldn't have to rely on other countries in order to see the products. Shipping wouldn't be that much of an issue because products would be here within the United States, which means we would have more people working in factories doing manufacturing. We'd have more people working in sales. We'd have more people working in transportation here within the borders. So this would actually help out a lot of different industries. So let me ask you this. Would you be willing to pay a little bit more in order to get a very similar product, but something that is made here in the United States? Let me know down in the comment section below. But that is what we know as of right now. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you're having an incredible Wednesday morning. If you have any questions, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.